Hey guys, welcome back to Rotor Innovations, where today we're going to be learning how to troubleshoot a generator. Found this thing on the side of the road and the trash picker in me couldn't help but to pick it up, bring it home, and try and figure out what's wrong with it. Here we go. To begin, I remove the fuel line and drain the existing gas from the tank, and then I remove the drain plug from the carburetor to remove any fuel from there. If you don't know how old the fuel is, it's always a safe bet to start fresh. The fuel that was left in here smelled terrible, so I had no doubt that the fuel was bad. Reinsert the plug once it's drained, and then you can add some fresh fuel. Make sure your engine switch is on. Go ahead and try and pull start a couple times. I'm not going to do that much longer. I'll probably take the starter off of here and use a drill to turn it over. You can check things like the air filter to make sure it's not clogged. You can just take the filter off. You want to make sure it's getting plenty of air. We'll go ahead and check the spark plug right now. All right, you want to make sure whenever you're putting your drill on here to turn the engine over so you don't have to use the pull start, that you're doing it in the same direction the pull start is going to spin the motor. All right, if you take the spark plug out and then rest it on the motor, basically to where it's grounded, you can turn over the starter. And you can see that it is working. Now, this spark plug, the previous one was not working, so I went ahead and swapped it out. So let's put it back in and see if it starts. Okay, so it started up. It actually does run, but it's not running wide open because whenever you try to open it all the way up, it does start to fluctuate in the pattern that it's running in. And I'll show you what that's like right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the carburetor apart, clean it out real good, and then see if it can run wide open. Sometimes there's a gasket between the air filter housing and the carburetor, or even the carburetor and the engine. So if it gets stuck to one surface or the other, you can use a razor blade or small flathead screwdriver to release it from one of the surfaces so it doesn't tear. In the event that one does tear, it'll probably still run fine, but if you're nervous about it, feel free to buy some new gaskets prior to disassembling it. Once the carburetor is removed, you can remove the float bowl cover, float pin, and the float itself. If there's a spring on the valve piece connected to the float, like there is here, you'll want to keep your finger over the end of that piece when removing it so it doesn't shoot off the spring. Here at the center shaft of the carburetor, there's typically a piece that unscrews with a flathead screwdriver, and some carburetors have an additional piece behind it that looks similar to a flute, so be careful when dumping them out to remove them. Near the throttle of every carburetor, there's these tiny little holes, and typically I'll just unwind picture frame wire and use a single strand to poke in each hole to make sure they're not clogged. Once you're done with that, you can put on your safety glasses and blow out all the ports. Once you have all the pieces clean, you can go ahead and reassemble the carburetor. If you'd like a slower process of cleaning out or reassembling the carburetor, feel free to check out the link popping up now for a similar carburetor and engine repair that I've previously done. Once you have the carburetor cleaned and reassembled, you'll reinstall the carburetor. Make sure to connect all of your linkages as you slide it back on. Don't forget to reconnect the fuel line and reinstall your intake housing, as well as any vacuum lines that connect to it. Try to create equal pressure when tightening the carburetor by tightening each side a little at a time and making sure it's tight enough to avoid becoming loose over time from the vibrations of the engine. All right, now that we have everything hooked back up and the carburetor clean, you're probably gonna need to put it on choke since we emptied the bowl of the carburetor. Okay, it is running wide open now since we've cleaned out the carburetor. I just took it a second for the fuel to fill up in the bowl and for everything to get enough fuel to it. But it's running fine now. Let's go ahead and put the pull start back on there and see how it starts. Alright, so after swapping out the spark plug with one we had lying around and cleaning out the carburetor, and for the low cost of $0, we have a $400 to $500 generator that's functioning like brand new. Hope this was helpful for y'all. If you have any questions, comment below. If you like it, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace and God bless.